Hey everybody, welcome to Sunday Slowdown at J&J Acres. We are a small family homestead in east central Mississippi. So there's 7 of us on about 7 acres of land. So we like to shoot YouTube videos to share with you everything about projects we're doing around the property, things that we're growing, how we harvest them, how we prepare them, how we preserve them. We also like to show you our animals and all those same things, and homeschooling and anything about our family that we can. We like to share with you, not only just to share with you what's going on in our family, but also so that whenever we reach a stumbling block or something doesn't work the way we thought it should have, that we can share that with you and show you what we think does work or does not work and why.
Alright, so speaking of things that do work and do not work, your live chat has not updated in probably about 5 minutes. There you go.
I guess that's what I need to do. Okay, so noted. I cannot minimize that window. I just got to let it sit there in the background. Well, hello to everybody. We've got Silver Moon, Jawton, Suburban Hillbilly, Amish at Heart, Off-Grid Northerner, Sandra Mathis, and Alderman Farms. Good to see you, Alderman Farms. And appreciate all of you being here and in the chat. And it's Donna S. And I won't be able to keep up with everybody else. So thanks to all of you who were here right from the very beginning. If it's your first time with us, this is where we like to just kind of slow things down and catch up for the week. You're just friends over at our house, and we just want to tell you how our week's been, chat with you about how your week's been and what's going on and what we see coming up in the future.
People are still slowly trickling in. We've got 21 viewers now.
Awesome. Maybe some people realize they could watch that other TV show and be logged into their computer at the same time.
Or watch it another time.
Maybe so. Alright, so I actually want to get your guys' attention right off the bat here. So I'm going to kind of go out of our normal order. Normally I would interject things that usually that aren't going to get on the YouTube channel right in the middle of the show. But I want to bring something in here at the very beginning, and well, I want your opinion on something. So Jennifer and I have been interested in some time about wild edibles and wild medicinals. So a friend of ours who has an apothecary that is now based out of Chattanooga, Tennessee, used to be based out of Starkville, Mississippi, is holding an herb class that we signed up for, where she is teaching us about medicinal properties of native plants found in the wild and how to prepare them. So it's a 3-part course. Today was part 2. So it's like she holds a class on a weekend, and then there's about 3 or 4 weeks, and then 3 or 4 weeks for the next one. So the next one's at the end of April. Well, today...
Yes, Tommy, it's Lindsay.
Yeah, that's Lindsay at Sweet Gum Apothecary. So if you didn't know she was moving to Chattanooga, bad news.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, today we went over how to do some of the preparations. Last week we went over a bit of some of the identification, and we went over more identification this week. And for that, I'll have to sort of direct your attention down to the video description. Down there you'll find a couple links. One is the Modern Herbal Dispensatory. That was a book she highly recommended that gets down into the nitty-gritties, that if you're a person who wants to weigh and measure things down to the very precision, that was a book that she recommended. And there's another one called Peterson's Field Guide to Medicinal Herbs, which doesn't just have pretty pictures to help you identify it, but also tells you the medicinal properties of the herbs and what it's actually used for medicinally. Also in the description is one of the books that we currently own. This is Forest Plants of the Southeast. Obviously that is for our region. You would need something specifically for your region. And this one's interesting because it goes past just what their medicinal uses would be. You see, it says their wildlife uses. So this kind of has a bit more of a like a permaculture kind of tie-in, if you will, at least in my mind of thinking, because if I'm looking at something that's just got a medicinal property for me, then I'm not really considering the entire ecosystem. But if I can find something that provides a medicinal use to me and to something else in the environment, or it has a dual purpose to be a building material or something like that, then all the better. So this kind of helps out with those kind of things. But what I have a question for you. I'm going to excuse myself and scoot over here just a second. So today we did preparations. And we did all of the standard things that you might imagine. We learned about making tinctures, learned about infusing oils and vinegars. We learned about fermenting, regular water infusions or teas. So we learned about all these different things, even made a salve right there in class. But then at the end of it all, she did this fun thing where of all the preparations that were made, she did a little door prize giveaway thing. So at the beginning of class, everybody wrote down their name on a little sheet of paper, and then at the end of class, she did a drawing to give away the preparations that we made during the day. Well, as it happens, we ended up with the ferment. Now this is turnip radish ferment.
It has garlic in it.
I know it also has garlic in it, though somehow that did not get on the label. She was very precise with her labeling today. I'm not sure how garlic got missed, but anyway. So there is our turnip and radish ferment. So what's interesting about this, I have never found any. I've opened that since then and kind of mashed it a bit more to get a little more liquid out of it.
Oh, okay. It popped on us on the way home.
on the way home. You know, if you do any canning, then you love this sound. You love that ping. You love that. But if you're driving down the interstate or driving down a road and all of a sudden you hear a ping in the middle of your car, that kind of freaks you out a little bit.
Just a little.
Well, anyway, I have never enjoyed anything that I have lacto fermented. So that's if I understand it properly, and y'all jump into that comment box if I'm saying something wrong. But I believe that since this is simply turnips and radishes that have been shredded on a grater,
and garlic
that was diced up,
salt
with Himalayan pink salt, that is a...
And whey.
She added whey to it?
She did.
I missed that.
She added about a half a cup of whey to it.
Half a cup of whey. Okay.
Approximately. She's not a measurer. She just dumped some in.
So I'm guessing the whey has a purpose, and I don't remember.
It jump starts things. She said you don't have to, but it gets things moving faster.
Okay. Well, look, here's the punchline. How do I eat this? I don't know. I have never liked
We're not a fermentation family.
Well, I like the kombucha. That's fermentation.
I kind of like it.
Yeah. I mean, I would
presume I like yogurt.
Making vinegar is considered a fermentation.
I don't like vinegar at
all.
Well,
so you don't like it. Don't blame the rest of us and pawn it off. None of us.
I said I.
Oh, I thought you
said I don't like vinegar.
I thought you said we're not fermenting people.
No.
Well, anyway, I don't know what in the world to do with this. So I want to be able to go back in a month, in a couple weeks when class is on again.
At least tell her we tried it.
And be able to say, hey, I tried it and I liked it and this is how I felt when I ate it and, my bowels were awesome or whatever. Yeah. just don't know what to do with that. I'm telling y'all right now, and there's going to be a dozen of you that want to jump right around and say that it just means I've never had it done right. But I hate sauerkraut. I can't stand it. Please don't unsubscribe. I just can't stand sauerkraut. I have had it a dozen different ways. I've had it from a super master fermenter up there in Starkville, Mississippi. Her name's Marion. And I just don't like sauerkraut. So I am nervous about this turnip and radish ferment. Now I love garlic, so that's got something going for it there. And I like turnips, and I usually like radishes, though.
We don't know how long those.
Yeah, I don't know how spicy these radishes got to before they got put in there.
The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener says, does it have any kind of smell?
Well, I mean, it just got put in here today.
It's going to smell like garlic,
yeah,
if nothing else.
It just got put in here, what, 4 hours ago?
Yeah.
That does have a smell to it. Not bad. Like I can identify with it, and I'm just not placing it. Well, I didn't think it was bad. I don't know what she smelled.
Remind me not to do that again. It smells like radishes and garlic.
Yeah.
And milk. I can smell the whey in it.
Oh, is that what that is?
That's what that is.
Yeah, I mean it smells like vegetables. It smells like root vegetables. I mean, I don't know how else to
Maybe
explain
on
it.
a baked potato, with some cheeses, dried meats, other pickled or fermented items. No, we are not German. Eat it in the morning with eggs. Slow cook it with brats on a side as a side with dinner.
Well, see, now that's interesting because some people were talking about how they like to have their fermented stuff right out of the jar. One person there even had something that was fermented for lunch today. I forget what it was. Other people were talking about how they do these combinations. Like one lady was saying she would have well, this is the one who said she had it today. She had it with crackers and cheese. So I guess you kind of like doing one of those little sandwiches where you have a cracker and a cold cut and some cheese, but she was putting her fermented vegetables on there with the cheese.
Sandra Mathis says if you do cook it, it's going to kill the enzymes and the probiotics.
I don't think I'd want to cook it.
And then Florida Homesteader says she doesn't like sauerkraut either, but that's pretty good.
Okay. Well, and I know that there's, I guess sauerkraut is like the default thing when you hear about people lacto-fermenting. That's, sauerkraut.
But apparently you can do it to any vegetables.
Well, and there's a lot of, I think the general term that's used is that's what a relish is. Like I believe you might be able to properly term this as some kind of a relish. Y'all let me know that, you fermenters out there. Is this considered a relish?
Sauerkraut is good on hot dogs. I guess if you like hot dogs.
Well, it's, same like having it with brats,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a...
I'm not a sausage person either.
Yeah. But... Well, I'll be going back later and checking in the chat because, I mean, I'm going to try a forkful plain. I want to try it just plain.
And if he thinks that it's okay and he thinks I might like it, then I might try a forkful.
She won't try a forkful. She'll try the tip of the fork. But anyway,
that way I
so...
don't have to spit it out.
Yeah. So I'm interested to see how this turns out, and I'm hoping it doesn't turn me off like... Now, see, I have had lacto-fermented pickles. So cucumbers, lacto-fermented into pickles. And I liked that. That was okay. It didn't have the same yummy vinegary taste that I like out of my pickles. But it wasn't bad.
Kelly Hale says she does cauliflower, onions, and peppers.
Cauliflower doesn't just turn into a big old mush? That surprises me. I know maybe you're using the stems and not the florets. That's interesting. Tell me more about that. I'm just curious. I would have thought the florets would just turn to a meh, but maybe I'm wrong.
Never had anything like that, but I would only eat it on a day you're going to stay home in case it does not agree with you.
That's very smart, Holly and Joey. Thank you. I'll probably do that. That's sage advice. So, well, we'll see. We'll see. I'm interested in trying it. You want to tell them what you've got cooking in the back there that's part of your project?
My project is on...
Maybe we should take a half step backwards and explain what we mean by your project.
We're on different teams.
Yeah, so probably the one thing we don't like about this is that Jennifer and I are attached at the hip.
Yeah, literally.
But then we got to the course, and Lindsay, trying to be a good instructor, splits everybody up into groups and make you work with people you don't know and all that kind of stuff. So Jennifer and I ended up in different groups. And
Not happy.
Even though this isn't for any sort of official certification or anything, she's got us doing these reports at the end that kind of explain, show that we understand the concepts and how to use and prepare and how to identify the properties in these different herbs and all that kind of stuff. So, okay, I digress.
My group's doing peppermint.
Which I'm sure you had nothing to do with.
I had everything to do with it.
Somebody loves peppermint.
We walked into our groups, and I said, "Does anyone know what we should do?" And no one had any ideas. I said, "How about peppermint?" And someone else said, "Well, how about this rare herb?" And someone else said, "Well, how about this herb that we already did in class?" And I'm sitting here going, "Yeah, okay, if you guys want to do that." And they just all kind of digressed and went back to the peppermint.
There you go.
One of my group members had a ton of peppermint on their property, so they brought a whole bunch in today, and I took it and have started a tincture in it. And that is just the leaves chopped up pretty fine, and then 1 part peppermint, 2 parts vodka.
Yep.
And now it sits for a couple weeks. 4 weeks until our next
8
class?
weeks.
Well, it's supposed to sit for 8 weeks, but we only have 4 weeks till our next class.
Right.
I didn't have the amount of peppermint I needed to start it for the 8 weeks.
So, a couple points, and I have a question for you.
Okay.
So our instructor specifically said that vodka was strong enough of a thing to use with fresh, leafy green like mint. Mm-hmm. We thought we'd have to go get some like super potent Everclear or something like that. But she said it would work for this. And I remember in class there were a couple things where she covered it with like a parchment paper or something. You don't have to do that with this one, with this preparation?
She said with the alcohol you don't necessarily have to do that.
Okay. Oh, it was the vinegar.
It was the vinegar.
She was worried about, yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Because the vinegar and the metal don't mix.
It's so acidic it can...
Right.
That's right. Okay.
But the alcohol doesn't have a problem with the metal.
Well, there you go.
Donna S. says, with your ferment, because of the garlic, it makes me think of the different dips the Greeks make. She says you don't like fish, if I remember. Well, he used to not like fish. He likes it a lot better since I started cooking it. Small fried fish dipped in it might taste good. Something else instead of fish.
Okay, now... I'm having a hard time understanding dipped in it. When I think dipped in it, I'm thinking like bean dip or nacho cheese dip. So I'm not sure what do we mean by dipped in it. I can picture a fillet of fish with this layered on top of it. But maybe I'm not understanding the concept, and I apologize for that. That's just my thick-headed and my very basic culinary expertise. So
Sheila likes my coffee mug. I got it in Tennessee at the aquarium, Ripley's Aquarium. Mm-hmm. I like my coffee mug too.
I did also, I know we're 20 minutes into the show, but I need to tell you guys, if for some reason we run away on you, you'll notice that up here on the mantle is our weather radio. I'm going to bring up the weather here and show you that we've got storms in the area. If you notice here over in this area, there's a little tiny yellow dot that's going to be hard to see on your screen. That's where our home is, and these are the storms that are coming our way. So this is a fancy radar that we use at work. many of you already know I'm the 911 director for this county, and so you can see this was a storm that was producing by radar. There was rotation in the radar that prompted a tornado warning as the red outline, and these are severe. The yellow is severe thunderstorm warnings. So we're slowly watching these creep toward us. I don't think they're going to get here within the next half hour, but I did want to let you know that just in case that radio goes off or the radar indicates, we may have to say thanks for coming tonight and jet out early on you. So just wanted to let you know that ahead of time in case that thing starts screaming. Okay, so sorry for the tangent.
Alright, so let's see. I use vodka with red raspberry leaves for a mouthwash and cinnamon to help with diabetes.
Okay.
Two separate items.
On the topic of fermentation, the kombucha is gone, as in I've drank everything off the first batch
and started a new one today.
And I now have enough bottles to be able to keep things going. So I am now starting up a second batch, and here's the question. This next batch, since the first one went so well, I'm already going to go ahead and jump into trying to do a second ferment. And now Jennifer's strawberry bed has been doing really well, and I thought it might be nice to do strawberries in the second ferment.
We do have a strawberry bed issue.
Yeah, we got roly-polies.
Yeah. The roly-polies have... I understand, because I've read up on the roly-polies, that they generally like dead and wilted things. Mm-hmm. But we have caught them underneath the strawberries, eating their way into the strawberry and ruining them.
Yep.
So
perfectly healthy plant, perfectly healthy berry.
Yeah.
But it was dark and moist.
Yeah. And there'd be like 2, 3, 4 roly-polies inside one strawberry, and I've been trying to get rid of them by hand as much as we can see them, but obviously we can't see them all.
Yeah.
So if you guys have any suggestions on how to get rid of roly-polies in my strawberry bed, preferably without using a pesticide that'll hurt my strawberries,
yeah,
I'll take it.
So I was thinking I would take the strawberries off of Jennifer's thing, because, even though she's saying that, we're still getting the strawberries off of the bed. It's not like they're eating all of them, but they're eating more than their fair share.
A lot more. If it were 1 or 2, it wouldn't be a big deal, but it's like close to half.
So I've read some instructions, and I'm going to tell you how I thought you were supposed to do a second ferment, and then what I'm hearing, and all of you kombucha makers out there, you tell me which way is the right way. So method 1, what I thought you would do is you have your kombucha tea that you've made, and after about 7 days or so, you would slip some extra fruit or something up under that and add it to the tea where it is, leaving the SCOBY in there, and let it ferment for another couple days, and then you would come back and deal with it and bottle it up. But then the second method I've been reading about makes it sound like you have to add the individual fruit or whatever ingredients you're using in the second ferment into the individual bottles, and that you bottle it, and then during that 3-ish days that it is carbonating is when it's doing its second ferment, and then you add it, put it in the refrigerator, and depending on what you added to it, either drink it straight from the bottle or maybe even have to sieve it out first. So let me know about that, because really, like, there was one recipe I read that sounded really good, but then it was talking about how I would have to empty it from the bottle and sieve it out because of what the ingredient was. You wouldn't want to drink it. And that really made me go, well, that's a lot of extra work. Why not just put it in the bottle, in the big gallon-sized bottle, and let it ferment in that, and then bottle it and carbonate it, and then put it in the fridge, rather than leave all the ingredients in the individual bottles you're drinking in. So Which way is it supposed to be done? Which way have you done it that it works, or could it work both ways, or what?
Jotan says you should pour out your tea in individual bottles, and in the 3 days, add your fruit, then refrigerate.
So they're saying during the carbonation time, the fruit should be in the individual bottles. Okay. So maybe
It's
that's
not
the
like
only
you
right way
don't
to do
strain
it.
yours anyway.
Well, I mean, I'm no fan of taking a big old slug of SCOBY. I mean, I like the kombucha, but I don't like all of a sudden getting a mouthful of SCOBY in my mouth from the bottle. That's just not appetizing to me.
Don't leave the SCOBY in. It flavors the SCOBY.
Well, so could I then instead take the SCOBY out and put it back into the SCOBY motel and
Add your fruit.
add my fruits and things to the gallon-sized jar without the SCOBY and let it ferment for a couple days and then bottle it with just the liquid and not the fruit or herbs or anything else? I mean, could I do it that way? I imagine that it's a matter of timing because you don't want to let it ferment for so long without being capped that it starts to
He
go
says
vinegary.
yes. You could leave it in the gallon jug, but take out the SCOBY and fruit it. Yes. She. I apologize.
I think that's those. You gotta understand the profile pictures are like that big, so I'm pretty sure either.
I don't look at the profile pictures. I'm sorry.
You're
I'm worried.
okay. Well, I think I might do that. I don't know if I left it up here on my phone easy enough. No, I did not. So I don't know.
He closed me.
I closed you?
You closed me.
Oh, you picking on me now?
Yes.
Well, that's funny. See, so I saw a recipe that I thought Jennifer would really like, and it was for apple cinnamon kombucha.
That does sound good.
But what they have you doing is breaking up the cinnamon into little chips. And so I guess in an effort to make sure that you don't have little cinnamon chips floating around in your bottle and slugging down cinnamon chips, they tell you to strain it to remove the apple chunks and the cinnamon chips. So
here's a question: can you get your hands on the Japanese cinnamon?
I have no idea. Why? Because you just want that better?
That's the candy cinnamon.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I just thought that sounded really good, and I was looking for a better way to prepare it rather than putting the ingredients into the individual bottles. So, hey, this is an open discussion, guys. We're all sitting around a table here at the fire just chatting away. So if Jatan says, yes, we can do it, if anybody else thinks, no, we couldn't leave it in the gallon-sized bottle for an extra day or two and then bottle it for carbonation and take out the stuff, let me know. I mean, I'm probably not being too clear, and Jatan's the only person who understood what the heck I was saying. But
well, the thing is that I don't see how you could easily fit apple into the
oh yeah, it's just
bottlenecks.
Tiny, narrow little bottle. I mean, you'd have to make like matchsticks out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, so it makes much more sense to do it in the big pickle jar.
Yeah.
At least to me.
Me too.
And I wonder. Now I could get. I have thought about buying this. What do they call it? I think they call it like a magic. Oh goodness, what's the word when you siphon? A magic siphon for brewing. So you could siphon things off of the bottle and whatever. Y'all understand what siphoning is.
Yeah.
But I wonder if without that. I bet you I can make a little baggie out of cheesecloth or something like that to keep the cinnamon and everything in, to make sure I don't pour anything into the glass jars.
You could do that.
I would think I could.
You could siphon it into a strainer.
Okay.
So you have a funnel. And then inside the funnel is a strainer, and then you siphon it into the...
I got you. Yeah. Okay.
Just another thought.
Yeah.
When you add your fruits, do the carbonation at the same time for 3 days, but make sure you remove your SCOBY first. Backtracking, that's Jaton.
How would I do the carbonation at the same time? Just put the lid on the pickle jar, take the SCOBY out, put the fruit in, and put a lid on the SCOBY jar instead of a coffee filter or paper towel or anything else like that. I don't know.
Would we lose some of the carbonation when we siphon it?
Well, not if we siphoned it. If we siphoned it, we should be taking the liquid and laying it into...
If we're not
but if we're
filtering
pouring
it.
Right, yeah. Well, that was the nice thing about that magic siphon I was talking about. It has a thing where it sets off, you put it into the bottle, and it sits off the floor of the bottle by just a couple inches. So if there's any sediment at the bottom, you don't pick it up.
Right.
And then it comes out of a tube. And so you put that tube at the bottom of whatever bottle you're bottling, and let it siphon in, and that way it fills from the bottom up, and you don't lose any of the carbonation. You don't get a bunch of head or anything like that from it bubbling up.
Sheila Trimble's still trying to figure out what kombucha is.
Sorry.
You want to tell her?
Well, I want you to go find a link so she can go watch it later.
Yes, sir.
There's a playlist called Fermenting for Beginners, and it's down toward the end of that list.
Okay. Fermenting for Beginners on our channel.
Yep, that's the one. Okay, well, we've spent a half an hour talking about fermenting.
Yeah, that happens. Playlists.
All right, well, let's... well, Jennifer digs up that... and Jaton says, yes, we would put the lid on. So, it's interesting.
It's not. I don't see it.
Control F. For... There it is. Alright, while Jennifer's looking up that, I'm going to switch over here.
Copy link address.
And look at something else.
There you go. There's Fermenting for Beginners. It's the very first one. How many pets do you have? We have 1 dog, 4 cats, 2 parakeets, and 7 pigs.
Yep.
And 9 fish. Yeah, I think that's all of them. And 5 kids.
And 5 kids. That's the biggest animals out there.
Yeah.
Alright, so wanted to take the time to talk to you about last week's YouTube videos. There's only 2 to talk about, so this won't take too long. So let me take this opportunity to say if you've got questions, type them in there in all caps. It helps Jennifer pull the questions for us out of the chat and not just the discussion between everybody.
It's not always easy.
We're probably going to need a few questions to get to finish out these last 25 minutes. So,
how is your black locust doing? You said you checked on that the other day.
I did, and there's going to be a video on the one way in the back. So I'm going to reserve comment and say, please come back and watch a video on it.
Is it still alive?
It is alive.
Good.
Okay. And the 4 next to the house are doing outstanding. They're doing really, really well. So I'm very excited about that.
We got into the bees this weekend.
We did. Again, videos to come. In fact, I was thinking earlier that we... how many videos did I shoot?
I got called out. Do y'all live in California? No, but I'm from California. We're in Mississippi right now.
Alright, well, okay. So, let me get back on track here. You start chronicling, that's the word, chronicling the
comments.
Q&A.
Yes, sir.
Alright, so the first video was the thermal camera of the beehive. So as I said in that video, we've been interested in getting a thermal camera for a little while, and having our bees die over winter because their colony was so small that they got too cold was kind of, for me, the straw that broke the camel's back to be able to let us do that. Now this is it's expensive. It's like $250, but it's not, the $1,000 professional or $5,000 firefighter kind of thermal camera either. It simply plugs into the bottom of a cell phone.
But it's cool looking.
It is pretty cool looking. And it's good enough to be used in a wider range of professions. They show it being used by plumbers to find where clogs or leaks are and all those kind of things, and obviously insulation around doors, windows, find out where heat's leaking from a house and those kind of things. But for us, we'll be able to see whether or not the colony is staying warm without opening up the hive to see how many bees are in it. Because taking the top off releases all of that heat, so we'll be able to use the thermal camera and see whether or not they're still retaining heat through winter. So that's pretty cool. That's one of the major things that we're going to do with that thermal imaging camera. So I don't know if anybody's got any particular questions about that. I did sort of tease about how we're collecting pollen and how I am trying to harvest some propolis for this herb course that we've been talking about for the first half hour. But I didn't go into it. I will go into that in a future video. And then the next video is Sit Down, Shut Up, and I showed the bees again. And I'm sitting here thinking about how at the time I did Sit Down and Shut Up, we had already been in the beehives that day. And so I know we have that video coming out. And then I know I filmed like 2 other videos about the bees. And it made me think that maybe we need to do kind of like, if any of you watch television, then you might be familiar with the Discovery Channel and how every year they do something called Shark Week. And I was starting to think whether or not we needed to do a bee week. It started to feel like every video was going to be about the bees. So. What's that?
What's that? Donna S. just donated $10.
Donna, thank you so much. Y'all take a look there at Donna giving us a super chat. If you've never seen that big yellow box like that before, that's when someone decides to donate something toward the channel. And in recognition of that, YouTube leaves it up there. You can see, let me see if I can get my mouse on the right screen. You can see way up here at the top, there's Donna's profile picture and how much she donated, and it keeps it up there for everybody to look at. So it says, just because I don't know if you ever got one of these yet, smile. So thank you, Donna.
Thank you.
We really do appreciate that. Appreciate you doing that. And there you go. So see, look, then if the host clicks on it, it pops up there for everybody to see. So it doesn't matter how busy the chat is. We can always get to your question and highlight your question or your channel, and just by a quick click. You don't have to scroll up to look for you. Just there it is. So awesome, Donna. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Wow, I'm just all flabbergasted now. Where was I?
Bee week.
Just so y'all know, when we put a video on YouTube, there are, out of 500 and some odd videos, I think we're close to 550 videos now, there's maybe half of those have ever made $10 as a video. In their whole lifetime of YouTube, maybe half of them have earned us $10, and that's probably an exaggeration. It's probably like a quarter of them. What in the world? Look at that.
They're running it.
Thank you, Tommy and Patty. We got another super chat here, people, from Alderman Farms. Tommy and Patty dropping a 10 spot.
Y'all go see them. They're awesome folk.
Especially if you like pigs and little children.
Yes.
You ain't never seen proud grandparents until you see the aldermans in Tomas running around the property.
Oh, yeah.
So make sure you go check them out. Thank you so much, aldermans, for your support. Tommy has been a friend of mine for many years due to our professions. We've been to each other's farms and done things at each other's places. So thank you so much for that support. Appreciate the pat on the back there, my friend. All right, now I really have no clue where I am.
Bee week.
Bee week. Oh yeah, I said we were shooting so many videos about bees that maybe we could have an entire bee week like the Discovery Channel does Shark Week. So let's again. All right, I told you about the thermal camera. I told you about the thermal camera.
He's flabbergasted now.
I am flabbergasted. You want to talk about how many videos on our channel have ever made $20? Like maybe 5? That's crazy. Yay!
Yay!
I told you about the thermal camera. Now sit down and shut up. All right. So obviously, the title was all for April Fool's Day. I wanted to do something silly with the video, but also keep it serious because, quite frankly, I hate April Fool's Day. And so I wanted to do something a little silly with the title. And as it happened, Jennifer spoiled me and let me upgrade from our plastic bench that we had inherited from my mother.
Every time we sat in it, it slowly started leaning backwards, trying to deposit us on the ground behind it.
It's like this molded plastic that just snapped together, and so when you sat in it, if you leaned against the backrest at all, it would pop out of what was holding it into place, and you thought for sure you were going backwards.
Yeah.
So she spoiled me with the bench that you saw in the, there's 2 of them, but I didn't show them to, so.
The other one's back by the bee pond.
She spoiled me with the benches that you saw in the thumbnail. And so I was sitting out there and enjoying my new bench and watching the bees and thinking about everything we had done with the bees that day, and suffice to say I was very happy. So I was realizing how much I enjoyed sitting there and just enjoying the quiet. I was bees buzzing all over the place, birds tweeting off in the distance, and everything else was quiet, and enjoying that. And all those thoughts I shared with you at the time crossed my mind, and I wanted to share that with you, and take the opportunity to use April's Fool's Day as a chance to actually say sit up and shut down on my or sit down and shut up. Yeah. Actually say that on my YouTube channel. So I'm sure I've never actually said that as a parent. You don't think? Maybe?
You've told me to.
I have not ever told you to. I have not ever told her to sit down and shut up. This is live. Did y'all catch the number on that bus that just... Oh, man. That's terrible. Terrible. With friends like these, I tell you. That's better. Alright, well, as fun as the video was by getting to say sit down and shut up, I was being very serious about how I really do think that if you take the time to be silent and think about it and think about it and reflect. Tommy says I'm busted. No, I'm not busted. I never did such a thing. Oh, it was lightning.
Are you sure the TV's on?
Yeah, maybe it was the TV. I think that the world would be a better place if more people took the time to be silent, to find the time. And I don't mean sit in front of the TV and don't talk for a half an hour while you're watching a sitcom.
By the way, our kids can't do that anyway.
I mean sit down and either find inner peace, if you will, and just be silent and meditate, or just be quiet with your own thoughts, not be entertained by somebody else's words while they're talking and you're not speaking.
And not worrying either.
Yeah.
The worrying is the exact opposite of being quiet.
Yeah. So I thought that was I don't know, it means something to me, whether or not it's actually an important message or not. It means something to me, and so I wanted to share that with you, which is why there's also the no joke on the thumbnail.
Donna says you were watching the radar before the show. Worried? No. Cautious.
we're not worried, but I mean, when you sit there and you're told you're in a tornado watch and there are tornadoes coming across the states in front of you,
It'd be silly not to keep an eye on the radar.
Not to sit there and go, okay, let's see if I need to be worried about that line of storms. Now, see, if we go look at it right now, you can see all of these warning boxes, they fall away. So that's good news, and we will just keep an eye on it until it's time to go to bed.
Yeah.
So that's all there is to it.
And then the radio will keep us informed from there on. You see, the last time we had a storm come through here, that it actually produced a tornado about 2 miles up the road, and no one knew about it until the next morning. There were no warnings. There was nothing. It flipped over 2 trailers.
Yep. We are in the worst spot you want to be when it comes to radar service.
Can you point out where we are again on the...
Sure. Let me, so we're right here where, oops, that's not, I'm pointing at the wrong thing. I'm pointing at my live map and not the actual radar screen, so you guys weren't seeing that. We're right here where this little yellow crosshair is. So if I zoom in on it here, the crosshair doesn't get any bigger, but there it is. And I'll zoom back out, keeping my mouse on it, and that's where we are. So if you notice, we're at the very far right edge of this radar, and we're at the very south edge of a radar that's north of us, and the very north edge of a radar that's below us. Anyway, we're right in this crosshairs where we get half decent coverage from like 3 different radars.
If it is very lightly sprinkling, like a mist sprinkle, it won't even show up on the radar.
Yeah. So, anyway, that's where we are.
So we were talking about that tornado that hit down the road.
Yeah, there was. The National Weather Service, for as good as they usually do, they blew one. There was an honest-to-goodness tornado about 2 miles northwest of us. So, northwest, just barely west of north. And it tore up a couple different homes up that way. Thankfully, not too many. But
knocked out our power for about 8 hours.
Yeah. But the scary part being, even with a weather radio up there and my fancy radar software,
and his connections to 911.
Yeah, there was no warning about it whatsoever. So that's kind of put us on a bit of a heightened alert to be a little more self-aware and make our own judgment calls on whether or not, hey, just because there's not a warning, maybe we should take extra preventative measures right now. So,
right.
So.
Donna S. says, "Do you need the rain?" That is such a relative question.
I don't think that we technically need the rain, but I mean, for us, it won't be bad to have it. We're also not to a point where we don't want the rain, so it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we've got about 10 minutes left in the show here. Jatan mentioned that she loved to sit down and shut up, so I'm glad you enjoyed that. Off-Grid Northerner asked, how are the bees? Well, we talked just a hair about that, but I will tell you that next week we have one big video coming out and then 2 others. And I can't really give you any other hints than that, but there should be 3 bee videos coming out before we see you again for Sunday Slowdown.
Here's a question you can answer. Tim Huffman said, "Hope the hives are strapped down. Winds can be wicked, and it's no fun when hives blow over."
They're not strapped down, but we've never had that problem. And I understand it's not a problem until the day that it is.
Right. They are surrounded by trees on 2 sides and my carport on the 3rd side, so there really isn't a way for straight line winds to get in there.
Especially not the way these storms come.
Yeah, not the direction these storms normally come.
The direction of the prevailing wind, there's more of a chance of that wind knocking a tree down that would impact the apiary than the wind itself doing it directly and not any other damage. Though it probably wouldn't be a bad idea for me to go readjust the top. Without telling them anything, readjust the top, break that down.
Good
idea.
Anyway. Donna S. says, "I thought your beetle traps were very interesting."
Well, thank you. We've been very happy with how well they've worked.
Yeah.
It's a shame because that's a commercial product. You know, they're selling it to restaurants. They sell it in these huge boxes that cost like $40 to $50.
We will never run out.
Yeah, but we bought one box and we're never going to run out. So it's a shame that you can't buy it in a smaller pack, and a lot of people have commented on those videos about how they use like an off-brand Swiffer sheet or a dryer sheet or something like that. But I have never had anybody. Let me say that a different way. I have read in other blogs or in other areas, like when I share that video on like a beekeeping Facebook group, for example. I have had people comment, hey, I've tried the dryer sheets and I've tried the Swiffer sheets and I've tried this. The towels work the best. So it's a shame that you can't just go spend $2 and get 10 of them or something.
But at the same time, if you get together with your local bee club and go in on it, and each one of you can have a couple of rolls.
Yeah, well, if everybody spends $5, you get 10 people, everybody spent, well, you don't even need 10 people. I think it's actually like $35, and then maybe with shipping it's close to 40 or something like that. But, you know, so what? You get 8 people to spend $5 and then split this thing all those different ways. Yeah, I mean, it's doable. You can find a way to make it happen. Or find some bloke like me nearby who's already bought them and said, hey, can I get a sheet off of you? I just want to try it. And then that one sheet's going to last you for like 4 treatments. So,
yep. Maybe ask a restaurant?
Might could. I think somebody commented that they worked at a specific restaurant, but I can't remember what brand it was, so I don't want to get it wrong. But I mean, that's what these towels are marketed for. They're just a heavy-duty paper towel. So you can actually dunk it into a bottle of sanitizing solution and go on and wipe tables with it, and it doesn't fall apart. But as far as they're concerned, it's still disposable.
Right.
So I mean, that's all it is. And then that's another nice thing about it, because of the kind of cloth that they are. You may have saw in that one video where we did a beetle burn. You know, so at the end of working the beehives, we take those papers that have all the beetles stuck on them. We stick it in the smoker and just pump it up, just use the bellows until it lights on fire and let it sit there and burn on fire and just let the beetles die and be done with it. No second guesses that they're going to get back out. So anyway, there's several bee videos coming out, and they're all positive. I will tell you, that's your biggest hint. All right. Amish at Heart says, are you going to do any more drone footage? We are. It's just a matter of time. Just stand by. There won't be any in the bee videos. The bees absolutely hate the drone. So we won't be taking the drone anywhere near the apiary.
All the way down to the end?
How's your drone skills this week? They're a little bit better. I have learned that I can fine-tune how sensitive the control sticks are. So I'm going to be looking into that, so maybe I can make some more smooth and cinematic kind of shots as I look at things. But none of the videos coming out this next week have drone footage in them. Michael says, how is the apple cider vinegar going? There's so little time left. I'm going to do it anyway. I'll be right back.
Run.
Okay,
run.
Running.
Hey, Deep South, I'm glad you were able to join us today. Definitely glad to see you. Come check out the full video tomorrow when it's fully loaded. And guys, we've got about 5 minutes left in the show. If you have any more questions, hurry up and get them in. Here he is.
Okay, here I am. Alright, so you asked how the apple cider vinegar is doing, and I told you that it was finally doing that white SCOBY looking mother. So here I'm about to show you, this is almost exactly 1 month old, and I think it's just about big enough for me to go ahead and start using it again. Look at that SCOBY that's on top of that. That's about 1/4 inch thick. So I am so happy with that. You can tell I've already taken all the apples out of there, just letting that SCOBY develop without any interference. But I'm pretty happy with that. So this, as you can tell as I spin this around, This was put in the cupboard March 6th, and I will be probably here this weekend making the next batch of apple cider vinegar going into that. So that is how the apple cider vinegar is going. Michael, you got the best answer. How do you like that? You got visual. Holly and Joey, Wisconsin vegetable gardener, asked, during the winter, if you find a hive is getting cold, how do you fix that? Any kind of normal insulation. You still want to leave some kind of a gap for the bees to be able to get in and get out if they need to. But I've seen people use regular house insulation. You can buy insulation off of beekeeping websites like Man Lake and others. Plain old army blanket with a hole down at the bottom, strapped on with tie straps. There's a dozen different ways to do it. And would a paper towel work, like sold at AutoZone or some other place? I'm not familiar with paper towels specifically sold at AutoZone, so I'm not sure if I'm thinking about like the blue Auto. Now that was thunder. You gotta give me that one.
That is definitely thunder.
That was a long thunder.
Dog's gonna be in here in a minute.
There she is, on cue. The blue paper towels, that makes me think that it's like the right strength, but I'm not sure what makes it blue and whether or not I would want that in my hive. So those are the kind of things I also think about when I'm thinking about like the dryer sheet or the dry Swiffer sheets, the dry mop sheets. Any kind of extra chemical that might be in those are what make me question myself. Whereas the paper towel, the Donny paper towel, has a small logo on one side that you can completely avoid if you want to. And it's just the fiber, just the paper fiber. So that's what I'm going to stick with. But worst case scenario, worst case scenario is you put something in there that already has a chemical embedded in it, and it's going to do damage to your hive. But if it's a paper towel and it's not strong enough, the bees are just going to tear it up and move it out of the hive. They'll just take it out. So worst case is that in that situation. So.
This is Shannon. She's our scaredy cat. She's at my feet whenever we have loud noises.
Deep South is asking, how's the weather? Any problems? Deep South, we haven't had any problems yet, but we are actively watching the radar, and it's getting a little bit closer to us, but it doesn't look like it's anything severe at this point. So, folks, that's it for today's show. We need to go ahead and get off. I want to thank Donna and the Aldermans for their super chats today. Thank you guys so much. I know how much $10 can mean, and so you guys donating that to us, I'm sure you understand how much it can mean to us. And you showing that that the channel has value is certainly a motivating thing to help us keep wanting to get out there and make videos, because really, if you've ever made YouTube videos, you know that most of this stuff you could do in half the time that it takes if you don't try to video it. So videoing it can sometimes make things last twice as long. So thank you for the contribution to help encourage us in that effort.
Donna would like us to not go out to the hives because of the lightning. We're more important.
Oh. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Anything else?
Nope.
All right. Folks, thank you so much for being with us here this week.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.